our song. Let's sing it. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Come on, it's gonna be fucking awesome. You know the words. It's gonna be fucking awesome. That's it, say. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Yeah!
What up, Coolest Geeks? It's me, Jesse Blaze Snider, the Coolest Geek Alive. How are you doing, my friends? Care Bear Stem, motherfuckers. I love you all. It's wonderful to be back with you. I'm finally feeling a little better, despite the fact that I got another tooth removed yesterday, but it's like just so much of a relief because I tried to get it removed 2 weeks ago, and it didn't come out, and I had half a tooth in my mouth for a minute, and now I'm Toothless Jackson for a moment as I wait to figure out what I'm going to do. But I don't really want to put like bunch of fake things in my mouth. I hate you read about all these different teeth things, and they all like they all these metals and stuff that they use cause cancer, and I'm like, can't we find anything to use to put in people's mouth that doesn't cause cancer? Wouldn't that be nice? Ay. So I feel like my options are limited. I kind of want to get like I don't know, like a clip-in teeth. I'll have a couple of clip-in teeth and then I'll be a happy man. Or I'm gonna let my jaw collapse because I don't have teeth now. No, I'm not gonna let that happen. I will have cool, nice jaw for forever because that is what I believe. But I'm a crazy person, so feel free to, not take my advice like it's from a doctor or something. I love you guys, and thank you for listening to the show. Our audience has been growing, like really steady. We had a good thing going with our first like ad company that promotes the show to kind of get it out to people and help people make it a part of their lives if listening to this kind of content is cool for you guys, and if you guys decide that you like me and you appreciate my opinion on things. I know I'm like, it's so funny. Everybody thinks I'm so paralyzing, because I really believe polarizing. I guess that's the word. I was paralyzing. It's probably like paralyzed. Everybody's like, I don't know I can't move. I'm freezing everyone. But I think very harshly, like, my critiques of these things are really kind of harsh when they're doing it wrong. But when they're doing it right, I'm very not scrutinizing. And I learned this about myself kind of researching for this. Like, I just wanted to remind myself of the plot details of Blade 1 and 2 because I didn't have time to rewatch them. But I've seen both of those movies a million times. I love Blade 1. I love Blade 2. I think they're fucking awesome. I think they're fucking masterpieces. There's so many things that I like about them that it was weird to see a sort of recap of the Blade movies through the lens of this channel. I forget the name of the channel, but their channel name basically said movies that suck or something like that. And I was like, movies that suck, Blade, what, fuck you. Like, and he basically acknowledged that wasn't totally the case with Blade. For him, the first one he thought was a pretty good movie, and the second one he thought was really stupid. For a lot of reasons that, like, I don't know, some of them I acknowledge, like there's bad CGI. There's a lot of bad CGI in Blade 2. But at the time, it seemed kind of like reasonable compared to a lot of things that were going on. So it didn't bother me. But that's a Guillermo del Toro directed movie. He is one of my favorite directors. And my love of Guillermo del Toro started with Blade 2. I thought that movie was awesome. I thought visually it was just fucking beautiful looking. He just did a very subtle thing. There was red on the back of Blade's jacket, and it really just like brought him to life as a silhouette. She shot the shit out of the thing. Wesley Snipes is one of the coolest men alive. I've got a tattoo on my shoulder that says "Coolest Man Alive." If I have been modeling myself after anybody on some subconscious level, not subconscious, but it's conscious level, but not for you guys to see. I don't know really how to describe it. All my influences, you try not to just emulate somebody completely, but their influence is important to you. And, somebody like Paul Newman is a coolest man alive kind of like figure for me. But Wesley Snipes in fucking Demolition Man, in the Blade movies, that motherfucker is cool. He just can fucking embody something that is fucking cool. He is a cool guy. He's exciting and like fucking seems fun. Like this guy is exhilarating. His energy is just like fucking through the roof. And I love him as Tracker Phoenix? What's his first name in the fucking Demolition Man movie? Phoenix. I haven't seen the movie in a little while, but I used to watch the movie all the fucking time. I love that movie. And because Wesley Snipes. And I went to go see Blade because of Wesley Snipes. I fucking love Wesley Snipes. And I was a comic fan, but I can't say I was a big fan of Blade, because Blade in the comics, he was part of the Marvel universe that I just really didn't gravitate towards, because they weren't science fiction. And to a certain degree, the world of Marvel revolves around science fiction. It's all science fiction concepts. Tony Stark, he invents an armor. Captain America, it's a serum. Scientists have invent a serum. There's a serum that is making Giant Man and Ant-Man the Wasp. Hulk is part of a explosion. Whatever. Spider-Man, he gets bitten by a radioactive spider. Daredevil, radioactive chemicals. I think you see the pattern here. The X-Men mutants, they're genetically, it's all science fiction. And then there's characters like Doctor Strange and Ghost Rider, and I've always wanted to like these characters because my dad says that I wasn't named after Johnny Blaze, but my name is Jesse Blaze, and he's a big comic fan. One of his favorite characters is Ghost Rider, whose name's Johnny Blaze. You don't think that was a fucking factor in the fucking decision? Yeah. Why he thought Blaze was cool? Because that. So I feel associated with Johnny Blaze, and I've always wanted to like it. And often I've really enjoyed the art, but I just never really liked the stories. It just didn't fit into the world of Marvel. Was sort of the problem, and most of the magic stuff that was done in Marvel Comics just always seemed to have no rules whatsoever, because like nobody made any, So I saw a lot of opportunities for Marvel when I saw Blade. Blade had come out before I really started pitching and stuff like that, and then Blade 2 had come on its heels, and I was pitching and ready to write, around that time. And I started working on a Blade pitch for Marvel. And it's really incredible how, I guess, kind of right on time in the Marvel universe, what I was trying to do in my pitches, and what and the position that is set up right now at Marvel, they could do all of my pitches, and they're really cool. The book is called what I pitched them, and it was called Blade and the Daystalkers, and the basic premise was, because they had a book called Night Stalkers, and I just thought, as I was looking at these things, that at some point I was like, the Night Stalkers, what a stupid idea, hunting vampires at night. A better idea would be to hunt them during the daytime. When they're in a lot of trouble and you're good. So my whole thesis for what's a good way to really kick things off in a good way and say next level stuff, they had done the Blade and I'm not sure about years and stuff like that, so I'm not sure at what point I tried to pitch this. I don't know if this was before Hannibal King in the thing or not, but I somewhere around that time. And the pitch went over really great at Marvel. They said it was the best pitch that they'd ever had at the time. Like they said, like that this was the best pitch that had ever been turned in to this editor, who's a pretty big editor, and I was really proud of it. And for like, I don't know, for like 8 months or 10 months or something like that, I was like just super happy. It was just a really nice, validating thing, to hear that my pitch was really good. And like that was, it meant a lot to me to hear that, like, to get that said, that was what I was trying to achieve. I was trying to impress people, and I felt like I had done that. And you know what? I feel good about it now, like literally now on the microphone, because I'm about to cry about it, because I'm like, that makes it worth it. It was nice to have my pitch validated, just by those people, because that was another thing that gave me the strength to go on even when I was really frustrated, because they ended up going to the Marvel retreat and they pitched my Blade thing, and were told that Blade had already been promised to the X office for Victor Geschler. So you can go look this up if you want to, what year that was, and like try to coordinate that with the Blade things. I don't know if I pitched this after Blade 3. I'm not sure. I was looking. I thought Blade came out at the end or the beginning of the 90s. I think the end of the 90s. I think that's what it was. I should just look it up while I'm here. That's an easy one to do. Let's see. So I'm such a big Blade fan. If you haven't seen the Blade movies, they're fucking amazing. I mean, really just, they're so fun and cool. And, it's one of those things where if you want to be the type of person who is like looking for things to make fun of and shit, like I'll hear bad reviews of comedies all the time. And I'm like, what everybody's talking shit about this? This is like a whole bunch of people came together to try to make you laugh, and like they did a pretty good job. Like it's like, I don't know. I feel like comedy's such a fucking making a fool of yourself for other people. Like it's you can't be so sour and like they don't get fucking Oscars or anything. Like 'cause they're the clowns. The clown part is like the fucking hardest part to play. I like yelled at my ex-bass player about this because, like, I felt like he was thinking like I'm like trying to hog the freaking spotlight in DILF USA, performing in our videos. I'm literally like begging them to do it with me, so I don't have to do it by myself, because like it's playing the fool, and I don't mind playing the fool, but it's nice when like you can play the fool as a group. And you don't have to, be by yourself doing it, alone. So now I got my new bass player, Audrey Padre Holmes, one of my best buddies, and he's such a great actor and such a ham and so fun. So so I'm like, I got people to play with, and like I don't have to like feel like I'm being a joker all by myself. But all these people who are being jokers in movies and stuff, I mean, they're all really like taking the piss, as they say in fucking England. They're goofing off for your benefit. They're making themselves look silly and stupid or whatever. They're risking their dignity and their pride, and that's brave. That's what real bravery is, when you're risking that and like putting that on display. So it's humility, as they say. But getting back to fucking Blade. Getting back to Blade. Oh, I love Blade so much. There was a couple problems with Blade at the time for Marvel, and I found this out through. I think I might have. I had a few editorial, like not really editorial. Yeah, well, I guess I had a low-level assistant. Shout out to Mark Sumerak, who was such a sweet dude. He gave me notes on my first comic book script when I submitted it, and Mark was just the man. He really took the time to go through all this stuff, and like he sent me back 4 pages of notes. Just kind of overall notes and different things. And he improved my script so much. And then I submitted that script to Axel Alonso, who was a much lower level editor at the time at Marvel. He got like 3 different promotions, ultimately ending up as editor-in-chief. I don't know if he still is. But the phone call that I got from Axel was another one of those moments of like, oh my God, validation, that ultimately kind of didn't go anywhere. But he loved my scripts for Punisher, which they were not so good until Mark Sumerak gave me and he didn't just help me like in terms of writing it, in terms of like copy editing and like basics of comics and stuff like that. He literally changed my ending, and showed me something, how meaningful something could be. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but by changing, and I don't even remember exactly how in which it was changed because, it just became the new scripts and whatnot. But my 2-issue Punisher scripts that I sent in to Axel Alonso, they were very good. And it was about, basically the Punisher was celebrating his birthday every year by killing a lot of mafia guys. And he was celebrating his son's birthday and his daughter's birthday, and he was celebrating Christmas, and he was celebrating Easter, and he was celebrating Halloween by murdering mafia guys because he was the most angry on those days. And the mafia came to know that he was very active at that time. So basically they set him up, and he gets lured into a trap by, I don't know if it was like an NSA agent who was like a Vietnam war vet guy who had this is funny. Okay, so this character in this book, Mr. Hand, he basically, the story was that in the Vietnam War he was captured and they were torturing him for information, and they split open his his eyes and his mouth like a smiley face because he had a "Have a Nice Day" patch on his army backpack. And this moment really twisted him, and he becomes kind of NSA for hire in the future, and he has this kind of menacing, permanent scarred smile on his mouth and eyelids. And this was before Dark Knight. This was before Axel Alonso used this idea in a book that he produced for Marvel called Nighthawk, in a superpowers line led by Michael Straczynski. And they had Nighthawk fight a Joker clown who had scars in his face like my bad guy that I had invented for the Punisher, which he had read maybe a year earlier. And then, of course, that went on to be written into the Dark Knight Returns is it Dark Knight Returns? Or The Dark Knight by Devin Grayson, who is a comic book fan and a comic book writer, who I think it was they publicized that image a lot because it was a good idea. It was my idea. But this is how it goes. It's all good. I have plenty of good ideas. They can steal them all, and I'll be happier living in a world filled with my good ideas than I was, not having them in the world. So, and I'll come up with more good ideas. But it was very interesting at the time because I'd never had that happen to me before. But my father had that happen to him. Stephen King, he was a big Stephen King fan. He met him at a certain time, and he pitched him on this story about this evil clown, Captain Howdy. And my dad had a song about this called Captain Howdy and the Horatoria with Street Justice, where basically the guy gets off on his horrendous crimes and the townsfolk do street justice, and they come together to kill him. And he told Stephen King about the clown thing, and this was years before he wrote It. And then a few years later, It came out. My dad was fucking devastated. But he still reads Stephen King to this day. He's like, he stole my idea, motherfucker. And my dad's starting to get a little bit of a foot into the writing world. He's really a great writer. He's very good at what he does. I've read many scripts and many screenplays, and they're always very charming and very cool. And he's written a range of things, from the deranged kind of Strangeland stuff and other things. But what I've learned about Hollywood and all these things is like talent isn't the thing. You'd be so surprised. Just talented people don't. We're not the ones who necessarily rise to the top and make all the money. It's the opportunists and the fucking weirdos. It really. I'm not like, this isn't, what's the word? I don't know, like sour grapes or something like that. If it was just happening to me, I wouldn't say it. But I see it, happening to my father and my best friend. And, Aaron Sparrow, I talk about him all the time. And Aaron's just the most talented man in the room, any room. And I've just watched him get fucked over by person after person and company after company. Many companies he's making millions of dollars for with his great big ass brain. It's so frustrating. And my father's like, I really love to write. I'd like to write, and ultimately the support you get is fucking. It has nothing to do with talent. It's a whole bunch of other qualities and other things. And this is why they try to explain. Success is a fluke. It's timing, and it's like, well, they say that to just basically say that if you're not willing to like sell your soul and grovel on your hands and knees or whatever, the only way it really comes is by accident. And then you've accidentally found your way into a successful life. All right, the system will begrudgingly allow this. That's really the case. It's crazy. And I mean, like, I'm counting on that for myself because I've decided fuck the system, and like it does everything bad. And but at the same time, if I was approached the right way, with people going, "Hey, we need your help." Yes, you do. I'm not dissing you, but it's like because it's the people who are doing the hiring. They don't know what they need sometimes. And, it takes a really terrible calamity for us to gather around a fire and talk about what it is. Now, this whole notion of getting rid of Blade and putting his daughter in his place in the Marvel Universe, like apparently that was the premise for the Marshala Ali Blade, introducing Blade's daughter to at some point kill Blade and have her be the new Blade. And then if they use Wesley Snipes, them doing the same thing. No, don't do that. Blade's character is such that as old as he is still going to be this half vampire Superman. And Wesley Snipes is more than capable of pulling that off for a long time to come. I do not think Wesley Snipes is going anywhere. That man is doing all right. And we should freaking like campaign for Blade, continue with Blade. And like, they don't know what to do. This pitch that I had put together for the Marvel Universe, let's put these ideas into the ether, okay? I got the Blade pitch, and I got the Blade Blood Drive Part 2 and beyond. So like this is the opening books and all this stuff. Because I guess this is for after you read the first issue, and then it gives you second issue breakdown, third issue breakdown, all these different things. But here, I'm going to give you the basic pitch, right? And I wrote a first issue for this, but I'm not going to read that. On the cover for the book, I wanted there to be a quote from Hannibal King, which said, "I mean, what kind of idiots stalk vampires at night? Blade and the Daystalkers." The Marvel Universe is quite largely based in and surrounded and around science fiction concepts. There are exceptions to the rule, of course, but when a big battle goes down in Central Park, trust that more radioactive, gamma-irradiated, chemically induced, cosmically energized, and or mutated characters will be present than thunder gods or supreme sorcerers. The Marvel Universe has always been grounded in the real world with concepts that spring from the real world. It's the main thing that has and will continue to separate Marvel from DC. Blade is a character that has mostly languished with other magic-based characters, thanks to being built on a foundation of supernatural concepts. Until Blade, the movie, came out, and blew our fucking minds. The first film sets up one wonderfully simple concept: science fiction vampires. Vampirism is a blood disease? Oh my god. The possibilities for that in the Marvel Universe are endless. Given the chance, I will firmly establish Blade as a functional science fiction concept in the modern Marvel U, without treading on or destroying past continuity. Also, I'll invent a character that is derivative of the character Whistler, so we can keep that anti-buddy movie flavor going. Here's how it'll all shake out. Blade is back in NYC, and he is chasing down Dexter, a smart-looking vampire with a suspicious-looking suitcase. The suitcase contains information on every vampire safe house and nightclub in NYC. And now, thanks to a little help from Blade's new wheelchair-bound amputee, war vet, and confidant, Hummer, all of that information belongs to Blade. There's a problem, though. Once Dexter fails to check in with his bosses, they will know that they have been compromised, and they'll shut everything down and change everything up. So what do? Arson. They burn down all 100 or so of the vampire safe houses in NYC during the daytime, decimating the vampire community in New York and firmly upping Blade's public profile. Blade is quite happy with himself. He and his people have just killed upwards of 5,000 vamps and their familiars in one single day. Problem is, as far as the common man is concerned, Blade just burnt 5,000 people alive. The man is now a wanted terrorist, and Captain America and S.H.I.E.L.D. are all over his ass, or whatever appropriate government super watchdogs we select. But in this case, you could put Sam Wilson on him. If you did it in the Marvel Universe right now, Sam Wilson, there's fucking vampires coming out of buildings. They don't know anything about vampires. This is how you introduce vampires into the Marvel Universe. This is how you continue from the Blade franchise to now. And you could even have Ryan Reynolds play Ryan Reynolds as Hannibal King because you can make it a joke between Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds of them like feeling like so weird when they're together and like only have them together every now and then. They don't have to be seen together most of the time. And even because his makeup and whatever, they look different. So fuck it. You know, like you could literally keep it as is. And people would enjoy that. Continuing. Then there is Pitch, a vampire with a skin condition that makes him basically the opposite of an albino and effectively a daywalker like Blade. Pitch lost his wife in the attack, and his grief kills a few firemen. And in his grief, kills a few firemen and police rescue workers who were trying to help him. Now, he could have escaped, but decides instead to surrender to the police so he can be taken to prison. Turn as many prisoners as he can and have them help him get revenge on Blade. So he's going to the prison to turn the prisoners into vampires. Finally, there are the Nosferatu, a group of 6 vampires who are the descendants of a vampire more powerful than Dracula. The Blade situation has gotten out of control, and now they are coming to settle it, and they are bringing an army with them. In Romania, 6 black coffins are loaded onto an Airbus flying into New York. Airbuses are filled notoriously with lots of people. Towards the end of the flight, mist pours out of the coffins, and the Nosferatu tear into the cabin of the plane and begin to feed on everyone. Now there are all sorts of power levels in the vampire community, and the reason for that is simple. The virus gets weaker every time it is passed down to someone else. So if you want to be a powerful vampire, you need to be bitten by the most powerful vampire you can find. But you will never be more powerful than the vampire who bit you. The Nosferatu are more powerful than Dracula, and their bite is far more contagious. The Airbus crash lands in Jersey and reveals 300 Dracula-level vampires, all under the control of the Nosferatu, and all heading to kill Blade. From there, it just goes. Blade has to stop Pitch from turning everyone in the prison, stop Captain America and S.H.I.E.L.D. from stopping him in their own naivety, and defend himself from a huge mist made up of 306 master vampires coming to kill him, starting with just Blade and Hummer, we will slowly and skillfully introduce the entire cast of the Daystalkers, starting with a Hannibal King cured of his vampirism. That was to line him up with the films. Then we'll meet Rank, a vampire who is decaying away into nothingness because he refuses to feed. Armed with a containment suit that keeps the sunlight out and the horrible odor of decay in, Rank is a constantly suffering superhero with a good reason to make other vampires burn. Also, what does a supernatural character like Bible John do when he realizes that vampires were created by science? Join us as the eccentric John tries to find his place in the world of science fiction. Plus, we'll get to know new characters like Hummer, Yes and No, and Valentin Van Helsing, the love child of Frank Drake and Rachel Van Helsing. In the end, Blade will call in, and by the way, if you're not in the know with some of the concepts, a lot of these things are concepts that existed in the universe in one way or another and are fun continuations, like Rachel Van Helsing and Frank Drake, bringing a daughter. I don't know, it's Valentin. I don't remember if it was a boy or a girl. Yes and No were characters that I had made up that were just like these ninjas that were the yin and yang. They both had one eye, and Rank was a character that I made up. But I think Bible John might have been a concept or a play on a concept from some of the earlier Night Stalker book. I'm not sure, though. I think maybe. In the end, Blade will call in every friend he has and lead the Nosferatu's Legion into a trap. The trap being a building in the middle of nowhere rigged to explode with a bomb shelter in the basement. The plan is to hold the vamps off until daylight, escape into the safety of the bomb shelter, and then blow up the building and kill the remaining vamps with sunlight. It works. They win. But the Captain America and S.H.I.E.L.D. show up and arrest Blade and all of his surviving friends. The first arc would end with the 5 remaining Nosferatu instituting a new plan to pass on their Dracula-level bite to 5 criminal leaders: a mob boss, a gang leader, a motorcycle club head, the day-walking vampire Pitch, and the ringmaster of the Circus of Crime. And that was something, well, I think it's in my pitches later, so I'll wait to say. But suffice to say, I found a lot of cool characters that they weren't really cool, but if you made them vampires, they were. And the ringmaster was this kind of lame character and concept, the head of the Circus of Crime. But there was good stories and things to tell with him because he was kind of a cool, eccentric character, but he's just so goofy on a lot of levels. But as a vampire, all of a sudden he became very interesting. And there was more, so I think there's a list of them somewhere. I'm going to get to that stuff in a second. There's not that much more of this stuff, but I promise you all the stuff that's in here is pretty good if you like some of the stuff that you've heard so far. I really, all of this, it was just a testament to my love of the Blade movies and of the Marvel Universe in general. And I was just like, man, you could really do some good in the Marvel Universe. Some of the concepts that are more like supernatural based in Marvel, they don't really work. But with adding the science fiction angle, continuing what they did with Blade into the Marvel Universe was a really good idea. So it ends saying, meanwhile, a starving Blade is taunted in a cell by Morbius, who is trying to get Blade to turn someone into a daywalker vampire like him, so he can help S.H.I.E.L.D. build an army of daywalkers. The end. So then it says, the future, a world of possibilities. The Punisher has mafioso vampire problems and doesn't know how to proceed. Fortunately, Blade has just been transferred to Ravencroft Insane Asylum. But transferred from where? And what is the Punisher going to do when he sees Pitch and a crew of his vampires coming to collect Blade as well? And what is the Man-Wolf going to do when Blade is seemingly responsible for the massacre of all of his friends at Ravencroft? That's the Institute. Man-Wolf pretty notoriously worked there. It's J. Jonah Jameson's son, who was an astronaut, and he was like the security at Ravencroft or whatever that later on would become, which was a cool place to put him because he was the Man-Wolf, but very cool place to put him when the Punisher is breaking into your place to break out Blade, and like, this is where you want Blade with the Man-Wolf and the Punisher, right? And Morbius fucking with him in a cell, trying to get him to make other Daywalker vampires for the government. Good shit. Come on, these are great concepts. This stuff would have been really fun. As a fan, I'm just like, this would be so fun. Like rip me off, Marvel, please. Like, I would love to see this. It would be cool. This would be cool. Fucking rip me the fuck off. Like, I mean, now you even got Jared Leto set up as Morbius. Like, you could do all this shit, man. Like, it'd be dope. Okay. Also, with the Montesi. Oh wait, sorry. Okay. So I'll just go back a second. So they're in Ravencroft Insane Asylum, and Pitch and Punisher are breaking in. And what is the Man-Wolf going to do when Blade is seemingly responsible for the massacre of all of his friends? And wait a second, didn't Morbius just make Blade turn a bunch of guys into Daywalkers? We can't have that. Also, with the Montesi formula reversed, doesn't that mean that Valentin's mom is back among the unliving? What happens when this vampire mama meets her vampire slaying son? So this was something that was from the continuity of the comic books that you would have to be aware of, and I don't actually even remember the details of it now. So I don't remember exactly the thing, but I saw an opportunity for a story based on what I was reading about because I didn't read these comics. I had to read like sort of breakdowns. I used to have Marvel encyclopedias, big ones. I had individual issues, like old school Marvel encyclopedias, wherever I could find them, and I was always buy them, and I had them in like long boxes. And then I also had big encyclopedias from different years. I would get updated ones and stuff, but because I wanted to be able to always be like on point. I'm very meticulous. I'm a Virgo, and I'm like a Virgo. Like, if that means anything to you, I know some people are like, oh God, this fucking thing, but it's really crazy. When I got my thing done, I was kind of blown away by how accurate it was to me on so many levels. And they told me I was a Virgo in like 6 houses, and that it's really rare to be like so in your horoscope. And I'm like, very, very meticulous nature is sort of our thing. So, my scripts tend to be very tight and pitches tight. I was always just trying to impress people. I always felt like people were expecting nothing from me because I was like the child of a rock star. They didn't think I would work for anything or whatever. I'm like fucking trying to like overcome that idea. Probably working too hard. So there's that this is like the fucking the Van Helsings or whatever. Plus the Circus of Crime, cool and scary for the first time ever. Why shouldn't Blade have a sweet rogues gallery? I wonder what other supervillains would be cooler if we turned them into vampires. Later, Hulk blood, Spider blood, Mutant blood, Baron blood, and others. How do all the various bloods of the Marvel U affect vampires differently? Find out when we meet Tick. And no, he's not funny. And eventually, if vampirism is a virus, does that mean that lycanthropy is a virus too? What about zombies? That's a good question. Join us for answers to these questions and more. So that was my Blade pitch. And I wrote a full script as well, and I sent them the full script. You basically get the whole thing for the first issue and the main story of Blood Drive, which is the first 6 parts. But I'll pick up this extended Blade and Beyond thing, which is just a few pages, but a lot picked into a few pages that I think anybody who's paying any sort of attention will realize is a lot of fun. So the next story arc is, I think, is it 4, 5, 6? Okay, it's another 6-issue arc called Carving a Niche. And in issue 7, typical Punisher beats people's ass action scene, except no one dies and just they keep coming at him because they're vampires. Then in the middle, we meet the Man-Wolf, chief security at Ravencroft Asylum. TV announces Blade has been moved to Ravencroft. Punisher sees this, gets an idea. Ending, Punisher shows up in the morning just in time to see Pitch leading a bunch of familiars in the door. They start slaughtering people before they run into the Man-Wolf. Outside, Whistler shows up leading Drake, Hannibal King, Mikado, and Moshe in the door. And that was supposed to be Hummer, not Whistler, but I wrote Whistler. So in the next issue, Punisher sneaks into Ravencroft, finds a crazy battle between Hummer, Man-Wolf, Hannibal King, Drake, Mikado, Moshe, these are characters from the continuity, and like 20 vampire familiars. The two warring sides team up in order to take Man-Wolf out of the battle, while the Punisher sneaks in without having to fight anyone and takes an unconscious and delirious Blade. The rest of the guys call it a day when they realize that Blade is gone. In the end, Man-Wolf comes to and blames Blade for the death of all his co-workers at Ravencroft. Now he's out for Blade's stinking blood, which is a reference to a Marv Wolfman drawn comic that I used to have his art on my wall, and his dialogue. He said, "The Man-Wolf is out for your stinking blood." So he's going, "Blade, I am out for Blade's stinking blood." I just wanted to see that again. Part 3. Blade wakes up starving for blood, kicks the shit out of the Punisher, and then nearly bleeds him dry. Blade fills Hummer and company in on the fact that the suckheads made him bite somebody and there could be another daywalker out there. They fill him in on the fact that he's been gone for a month and they just got word that he was moved. Something happens to show that the Man-Wolf is in the game. Punisher wakes up as a vampire. This is part 4 now, carving a niche. Someone slaughters a strip club filled with mafiosos. It's the Punisher as a vampire, and he was hungry. Come on, man. How cool would that have been to see? We could still do it. It's there. You could do it in the movies. It'll be fucking rad. This pitch is so rad. I was so proud of this shit. This is why if you're at home, I'm hoping that you're like, dude, this is rad, and like this is so crazy that like we didn't get to see this because this is fucking dope. It really is dope. I'm like, I didn't remember it completely. I'm like, oh, that's dope. Like I'm reacting as a fan right now because I don't remember writing it. I wrote it so long ago. I remember some things about it. These things, let's see. That's pretty cool. He was hungry. I was like, that's badass, Jesse Blaze. I love it. I'm sorry that I'm patting myself on the back. I was like so pleasantly surprised by that. That's a good one. Blade continues trying to get information on this daywalker. Punisher shows up. It's rematch time because now they're both vampires. They beat the shit out of one another. Man-Wolf shows up. He'd like to cut in. This is fucking comics 101, guys. Like seriously, this is some fun ass comics that I'm putting together here. And these are some great simple breakdowns for these fucking editors. I mean, like you don't have to fucking read some long ass shit in freaking 5 sentences. I'm like putting together books that are fucking, oh, that's exciting. That sounds pretty exciting. I'm sorry for complimenting myself. I'm just like so like pleasantly surprised how fucking concise this shit is. I do good work. Thank you. I have to pat myself on the back. I'm sorry. Sometimes listen. Being real, sometimes I get really down on myself because my results have not been like, better. So forgive me if I am patting myself on the back, and it's a cry for help, guys. It's a cry for help. My ego has not been able to take the short-changed version of results that I feel that I've received. At the end of the day, though, when I look at things from the right eyes, I just see lots of successes. And it was great that I got the compliment that they loved this pitch, and it was like one of the best pitches that they'd ever gotten. And now I see why. No, I'm sorry, I'm being a dick because it feels nice. It feels nice. Sorry, it's helping me. It's helping me love myself. I need to love myself. I have trouble with that. I'm like the meanest to myself. I don't really get like mad at other people. I get mad at me because I like to have good relations with people and be generally, well regarded amongst me and my peers and all things. So, and I'm sensitive and all those things. But it's the things that make you good at what you do. Is being hypersensitive and whatever else. So if you're out there and you're like me and you're hypersensitive and, it's not like we all, like people like us have like big egos. We have like these little egos that are fragile and I'm much better than I was, and my ego's not so fragile anymore, but it does feel nice to read this pitch and see that it's good and remember these things. Cause I was kind of remembering it like negatively. And, I was like inspired to like share this with you like before the show. And I was like, really? I'm like, should I share that? I don't know. But like, now I'm reading it, I'm like, oh no, this is so fun. Especially if you've watched the Blade movies, like, isn't this fun? Wouldn't this be so fun to get him into the Marvel universe like this? And there's a lot more cool stuff in this short little thing that I have left. But check it out. So let's see. Punisher wakes up with a vampire. Man-Wolf shows up. He'd like to fight with them. Okay. So in issue 11, part 5 of Carving a Niche, you got Man-Wolf is doing enough damage to both the Punisher vampire and Blade vampire that they decide to team up and take him out together. So that ultimately leads to them deciding to work together and help each other out. And in the end, it's not the vampires who used you to make a Daywalker. It's Hammer, and they made a whole platoon of Daywalkers. It's not the vampires who used you to make a Daywalker. It's Hammer. And they made a whole platoon of Daywalkers. Oh, was I using... Maybe I was using a character from the universe. Dr. Hammer. Okay, yeah. I guess this was an existing character from the Marvel universe that I'm not remembering right now. And they made a whole platoon of Daywalkers, they find out at the end of the book. So then part 6, the final part, opens with Blade and the Punisher take the vampire crime family apart, the one that he was having trouble with, and Blade and the Punisher go after the Daywalkers. Note, maybe Dr. Sun is the doctor working on this project for Hammer or Morbius. So this was Dr. Sun was another character from Marvel. In the end, Blade kills the Daywalker and gets away. Crime family apart. Punisher go after the Daywalkers. Oh, Daywalkers. So Blade kills the Daywalkers and gets away. Blade number 13 and on. Okay, so Blade versus the Vampire Circus of Crime. How do you make the Ringmaster cool? Make him a vampire. Hulk blood, enough said. Villain Varney, the first vampire ever, the one who turned Nosferatu. And Nosferatu turned the Nosferati. And so basically there was like this tier structure of there's this Varney character who's all-powerful kind of vampire god demon, and then there's Nosferatu as a power level underneath him for the people that Varney had bit. They became Nosferatu-like vampires, and then the people that Nosferatu vampires bit, they became the Nosferati, who were like a little bit more humanoid, but somewhere between the master vampire like Dracula and looking and a Nosferatu. And then there's the Dracula level vampires who can turn into bats and all that kind of stuff. And then it goes down to the normal level vampires that can't turn into mist and other animals and things like that. And then there's the vampires that turn into like these zombies that are mindless. And it's all based on this virus that sort of like, the weaker it gets, the more it's sort of like, it starts out kind of de-evolving you at its highest strength, and then it kind of de-evolves you into nothing, at its lowest. So it was a cool concept to like get all these things into place. And then we had possible villain or allies, yes and no, ninjas, characters to use. Allies, Mystic Library, Bible John, covered in protective symbols. Cat Inks, creepy magic albino girl with the near identical origin to Blade. Villain, Blackout. These were a lot of these were characters to the Marvel universe. Like the reason why she had identical origin to Blade, which she was an existing character, I was like, oh wow, they have really close relations. Like I'd love to do a story with them. That could be cool. And then dead Rachel Van Helsing, but maybe she had a baby with her ex Drake. Note this would be cool because he's married to Marlene McKenna Drake. And then there's a vampire totem pole that explains Varney, the original vampire, looks like a hulkish goblin, powers incredible. 2, Nosferatu, the only person ever turned by Varney, looks like a goblin, bald head, white skin, pointy ears, all pointy teeth, long fingers. Powers, metamorphosis, any, flight, mind control, able to turn people in seconds, super generative abilities. 3, Nosferati, the 6 people turned by Nosferatu, looks like a goblin, white skin, pointy ears, all pointy teeth, long fingers, slightly less goblin looking than Nosferatu. Powers, metamorphosis, any, flight, mind control, able to turn people in minutes, super regenerative abilities. Master vampire, Any person turned by Nosferatu. Looks human, white, pointy ears, fangs. Powers, metamorphosis, bat, wolf, man-sized bat or mist, flight, mind control, animal control, and summoning. Can turn people in hours. Excellent regenerative abilities. Includes Dracula, Verdelet, and the 300 turned on the Airbus in my story. 5. Lesser master vampire. Any person turned by a master. Looks human, white skin, fangs. Powers, metamorphosis, bat, wolf, or mist. Flight, animal control, and summoning. Few hours to turn someone. Excellent regenerative abilities. Includes Deacon Frost. 6. Secondary vampire. Any person turned by a lesser master. Looks human, white skin, fangs. Powers, metamorphosis, bat, wolf, or mist. Flight as mist or as bat. Animal control and summoning half a day to turn someone. Very good regenerative abilities. Includes Hannibal King, Blade, minus some powers. Then there's, note, the following are what most of today's vampires would be considered. However, most purebloods would be considered somewhere between a secondary and lesser secondary. 7. Lesser secondary vampire. Any person turned by a secondary. Human, white skin, fangs. A day to turn someone. Powers, a day to turn someone. A day to turn someone? Oh, it takes them a day to turn someone. They have very good regenerative abilities. Includes Pitch and the regenerating underling from the first Blade movie. So that guy who could regenerate and he kept trying to kill him, but he kept not dying, that's Pitch, and the underling, that guy from that Blade movie. So this is one of the things that I was trying to explain. There were all these different power levels. I wanted to actually give it some merit. Wild vampire. Any person turned by a secondary. Looks human, white skin, fangs. Powers, few days to turn someone. Quick healing, can regenerate. And then 9. Lesser wild vampires. Any person turned by a secondary. Human, white skin, fangs, can't turn anyone. Quick healing, can't regenerate. Stupid and bloodthirsty. The doctor's boyfriend at the end of the first Blade film. And thus, there was a hierarchy of vampires and, an explanation for so many of the things that we had seen on screen. So that was the pitch, and I submitted it with a full breakdown of my first issue, a full script of my first issue, which I really, I really worked hard on, and it was great. I really wanted. I was so excited to do it because I thought. I nailed it. I saw an opportunity and I timed it perfectly. They really need to get Blade in the comics the right way. They've tried it before and they've done it wrong, and I knew that I could get it right. And when they did this reintroduction of Blade with the X-Men, it was another failure. I mean, ultimately they sold some X-Men comics, but I think Blade in the X-Men comics hurt their X-Men comic sales. And, ultimately it was just a flash in the pan. It didn't fucking mean anything. It didn't change anything. It didn't make Blade meaningful in any way. But the story that I just put forth, I think really does. And I think it would be really super fun. And I think it has the right cameos and the right guest stars. And, there's so many fun things to do with this character as a science fiction concept in the Marvel universe, and in the movies, the sky's the limit now that that he could be in the Marvel universe, and there's no reason to recast him. Blade can be Blade for a long time, and freaking Wesley Snipes will keep showing up and doing it. I really believe it. I think he will deliver the goods for a long time to come, and there is no reason to think otherwise. He's the man. He's the fucking man, and he is that character. And Blade is a simple fucking thing. He knows how to fight. He knows how to move. He doesn't mind exercising and staying in relatively good health. He seems to me like a good sturdy stock man, and he'll be around for a long time. He's fucking strong ass dude as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can see, and he should be fucking Blade. There should no replacement. We don't need his daughter. That's never been done in the comics. Or if it has been, we didn't like it because I didn't fucking hear anything about it. And I've been following pretty closely for a long time, so I don't know when the fuck that happened. I don't think it has. The Night Stalkers is a thing, and it's cool, and they could do cool stuff there. They could continue with that. I really do like the idea of there being a lot of vampire hunters, because it means you fight more vampires, and it's like this is more action and more stuff. And if they make cool characters, and they're cool characters within, the concept. It's funny. The Night Stalkers was Dracula and Blade and Hannibal King in the comics, just the three of them, which always seemed like That's it? That's your team? The three of you guys? Why don't you call yourselves the Three Guys? That's what the Musketeers did. The Three Vampire Guys. We're three vampire guys. You're watching Three Vampire Guys. Dang. That's like the music swell. Yeah. So I guess the moral of the story here is we should all fucking campaign and push for them to keep Wesley Snipes. He can do it. He just proved it in the Deadpool movie. Get that fucking white out of his hair, and let it. He can even be fucking Youngblade for a little while. I mean, that shit's like kind of fun. But I mean, he could be Old Blade, whatever. It doesn't matter. Because he's a vampire. So let him fucking be Old Blade. Old Blade still kicks ass. Old Blade still kicks ass, and there's no reason to fucking replace him. Seriously, you got Blade. Bring Blade. Now, in for a penny, in for a pound. I don't know what to say here. Just keep Blade, and if you need any ideas for your movie, steal them from me. Just fucking take them all. There you go. Just go. I mean, or if you want to make sure it's actually executed well, hire me. But feel free to take the ideas at the very least. Yeah, I don't know. That's it. I think I made a commercial. I did make a commercial that advertises the other shows, so I don't have to do it every week and talk to you about the shows. So you probably already heard it. Someone showed up in the show, and I love you guys so much. You guys are awesome, and I hope that one day we could be together at a Comic-Con somewhere conveniently located next to my hotel, within walking distance, preferably. It's great hanging with you. I'm working on Saturday. I'm doing a coolest pick for a movie called Molly's Game. And if you haven't seen it, it's really cool. And I'll talk about why, but it kind of relates to Tobey Maguire. Yeah, it's well written and it's dope. So anyway, join me Saturday for another episode of the Coolest Geek Alive. And then, of course, back here for my normal episode every Wednesday. You're listening to the Coolest Geek Alive. I love you guys. See you next time. Peace.
You've been listening to Coolest Geek Alive with me, your host, Jesse Blaze Snider. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more excellent geek culture content. Thanks for listening.
It's my favorite part. Isn't that heavy? I played that. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Coolest alive. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Stay with your tribe. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Revenge of the Geeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Week after weeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Laughing with you. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And crying sometimes too. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Spelling it out. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Making you shout. I'm a genius. I got lyrics coming out me bum for days. You like that? It's a kazoo solo. I played that too. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Talking some shit. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Living the shit. My voice is fucking awesome. Foot in our mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Get in the mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Tell all your friends. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Call right on text. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Raising the bar. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Straight to the stars. It's gonna be fucking awesome. It's starting soon. Straight to the top. Passing the moon. It's gonna be fucking awesome. On with the show. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Ready, set, go. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Just wait. You'll see. You'll all see.
The Podcast Playground. on.